Hi everybody, here we are, another Thursday in September. Doesn't the time fly? Don't you get that feeling that it's just whizzing by? So I'm really hoping that the internet is going to be sweet and kind to me today. And if any of you hear or see any interference out there, just pop me a message, won't you? That would be fantastic. So welcome, da-da-da-da-da-dum. Welcome on board. And today we're going to be talking about talking without words. Hey, thank you. Talking without words. Tower of Babel, eat your heart out. That's what I say. So that was the topic of the blog this week. And I've been thinking about that a lot, because I was traveling during the month of August. And so this is going to be the super topic today, talking about how do we express ourselves? What do we do when we haven't got words? How can we add to our words? How can we enhance our words? So welcome. And if you're catching the replay, that's great too. Don't forget to put in your likes and your comments. Now, come on, don't be shy. I know there's a lot of people watching. It's just a little click or a tick that all you have to do is to put in to let me know that you're out there, that you like what I'm saying. You don't like what I'm saying, that's fine too. Please let me know you're out there. That would be great. So if you're catching the replay, you know what to do. So I've got my notes here, I like to put a few things down. I can't remember everything, can I? And we've got a couple of people here already. That's nice. So last week we talked about holding back the good stuff, shyness, inhibitions. And today it's a kind of follow on because it's all about expressions, facial expressions, body expressions, hands, and how we can incorporate them into our speech to enhance things, to make us shine and sparkle even more. And it's quite well documented that body language is something that most of us pick up on first. And I think we are quite aware of that, really. We look at each other's faces. We watch for expressions. Is the eyebrow moving? Is she flicking her hair away a lot? Fiddling with the beard. We notice all these expressions and all those little things that we do. And then we tend to enhance it with shoulders and nodding and ah. They're not quite difficult, but there's a sort of movement in the face that happens. So then we get on to the hands. Some people are more expressive with their hands and their bodies. They can't keep still, or they're just very expressive. So let's talk about that today and how do we incorporate it? How do we make that work for us? How can we make ourselves feel more relaxed, and therefore those of the people who are watching us? Excuse me. The power of the pause. So during my travels, I noticed a lot of people speaking different languages. Many of them I didn't understand or recognize at all. And yet, when you hear these languages, you see people talking in all these different languages. You see that they are communicating. They're understanding each other. I mean, how many of us have sat at a cafe observing, or in an airport or a train station or something like that? It's gone very dark in here, isn't it? And we've watched people watching. It's quite a favorite pastime of a lot of writers. And we watch people, and we can very easily work out whether they're happy, they're angry, they're having an argument, they're discussing something serious or something sad or something sweet and lovey-dovey. We pick this up from their facial expressions and their body language. We're very aware of this kind of thing. We don't necessarily understand what they're saying or even hear it, but we pick up these things. So body language is very much part of our style of expression. And when what I noticed when I was traveling is when people want something in life, they always add expressions. You want to eat, you want to sleep, you don't like what's going on, you want somebody to go away, you want somebody to come towards you. We play around with our bodies so much, and we get into that a lot more when we are traveling because we see other people do it so much. Have you noticed that too? What do you think? Pop your comments in. Are you somebody that uses a lot of expressions? I think it's a little dark in here now. I'm just going to switch on a light. Excuse me a second. See if this adds some brightness. Yeah, so, we use a lot of expressions when we want to communicate. And then when we come back home to our homes, we lose all that. We sort of become a bit statue-like. We stop expressing ourselves fully. And even worse, when we get up on stage or when we have to present or pitch or sell something, then we become quite, what was that word? Statue-like. We freeze a little bit. We don't know what to do with our hands. Girls often start all this stuff or adjusting clothing. Men hide their hands in other places. It's a shame. We become inhibited. We become shy. We shy away from expressing ourselves fully. So that's something that I noticed during my travels. And, I don't know what you've noticed when you move around, when you see people. Are you a great observer of others? Do you like to watch what people do and then think about, why can't I do that? Or why aren't I like that? And you probably noticed that Mediterranean people are very expressive with their hands, with their facial expressions and their gestures. They're more expressive. They use them a lot more. They raise their eyebrows. They just gesticulate or just use more gestures. So, and then Northerners, if you notice, tend to be a little bit more straight in their expressions. Not so expressive. We have that saying, they're hard to read. And then we often say about Asians, how difficult it is to read their eyes. Have you heard that one? Well, of course, all these are generalizations, but, we do have different cultural ways of expressing ourselves. And it's quite interesting when you look this up on Google, how showing the back of your foot to somebody is rude, or picking and pointing and doing things like that is an insult to somebody else. So we have to be quite careful how we express ourselves. But at the same time, for us living here in the Western world, in Europe or the US, we're a little bit more free to express ourselves. So what happens to you when you go live on video or Facebook? How can you liven up your discussions, how to engage more? How can you get that energy that you have across to others? When you're sitting with your friends, you're sitting with your family, and you feel relaxed, so you express yourself much more. So what happens when we want to present in public? What goes wrong for us? Let's see what we're saying. That's why I had to move to Spain. I wave my arms too much. Yes, I was called very flamboyant, as you can imagine. Nice one, Bibi. And what else? It's a fun way to express ourselves in a holistic way, using all our assets available. Yes, use all your assets. I enjoy to communicate in multiple ways. That's right, multiple ways. I think this is why we have hands and shoulders and ears, so that we can move them. And it's so important, when we watch a movie or in theatre and we see people's expressions, it tells half of the story, doesn't it? I mean, sometimes we read too much into things, but there's another topic, isn't it? So what happens when you don't let your facial expressions, your body, do the talking? What happens to you? You get frustrated, of course. You tend to close down. You feel a bit numb. You feel a bit sort of annoyed with yourself that you're not, giving out the fullness of yourself. and you feel frustrated. You want to, hide away. You never want to do it again. You might even be jealous of other people who are expressive. And it just puts you off, doesn't it? You want to sort of close down and never do it again, that kind of thing. Or you spend so much time comparing yourself to others, wishing and hoping you could be more like them, which of course will never happen, really. And then we see, people who are really expressive, and we get resentful sometimes. So that's really how low we can get when we're not allowing the expressions and our naturalness to come out. And part of that is to do with, holding back the good stuff, as we talked about last week, of inhibitions and shyness, and, cultural differences that, or upbringing, to do with upbringing. You mustn't do this, you shouldn't do that, that's rude, people won't like it if you say this, don't interrupt. Oh my God, come to Spain. You'll get rid of that one immediately. People talk all the time at the same time, and things still get done in a different order, but they do get done. So it is about opening your mind to other ways of doing things. Ooh, isn't that exciting? So let me tell you a couple of stories then. Only be aware of obsessive gestures. Ooh, yes, we don't want to get those OCDs going, do we? So let me tell you a couple of stories, as I was saying, about behavior. So last year I went to Copenhagen to a conference there. Very interesting it was to be amongst Scandinavians who were very smart, very intelligent. Everything was done in English. It was extraordinary, and knowledgeable people. So this guy gets up on stage, who will remain nameless. And I don't do kiss and tell. And he's all about body language. He's really into body language. And he's giving us the lowdown on it. But the whole time, he's got his hands in his pockets. And if you notice, that's something that men do quite a lot. One hand goes in, the other hand follows, one hand comes out, And so it's a lot of hand movements going into pockets. So after he did his presentation, I went backstage to have a chat with him. I said to him, what is this all about? Your hands in the pockets. Why do you do all this stuff? Why do you put your hands in the pocket? What is it with men who do that? And he said, well, I think it's about protection. I said, what do you mean? What are you protecting? He says, well, look where my hands are going. They're protecting the most sensitive part of my body. So, well, I couldn't hold my laughter back. I thought that was hilarious, telling me that, men put their hands in their pockets to protect themselves. Crazy, isn't it? And he's the body language guy. Well, I find it quite off-putting to see men put their hands in their pockets all the time. They're hiding their gestures. They're hiding something, not being free. I'm deliberately waving mine around. So let's see what you're saying. Anna is here. I say a lot. How do I get rid of that, especially in recordings? Well, maybe it's about knowing your stuff better. Maybe it's about learning your lines better. I mean, you've been in theatre, you know how to learn lines. So it is about it is about feeling confident about what you say. And when you're confident about what you say, the words flow. And perhaps instead of saying you can take a pause. You're just taking a breath instead of going So, the first step is being conscious of it, and that's great. But try pauses. You're aware that you do so, try some pauses. See if that works for you. It's true, that's what I think I need to remind myself, that inhibitions actually is holding back what people actually want to see and what they connect with. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking together with your friends, especially your girlfriends, and you're having a good laugh, or somebody you feel relaxed with, somebody who's sweet with you or on you, and, you get more expressive, don't you? You let go of yourself, you wink, you blink, you use your eyes much more. And it's about bringing that onto your stage, onto your online presence, when you're in front of that little green light, and just somehow picturing that they're there. You know, when I was in theatre, one of the things we used to do was to look at the back wall, what they called the fourth wall, so that you didn't have to look at anybody in the audience. Then there were directors that I worked with who said, no, look at the people. You know, who cares? Just look at the people, give them your eye, let them know. And working here in Spanish theatre, I did that a lot. I used to look out into the audience and give them the eye. And I think they liked it, because afterwards they'd come up and go, well, anyway, that was my experience. So another little story, actually working in theatre as well, was when I was in the music business, and I did some music for a theatre company. And there was 5 of us doing music together. And one day the director said, no, everybody has to come down and join in with this exercise. And it was a really interesting exercise because we all had to wear white masks. Yeah, a white mask on our face. And then he told us to go around and interact with, there were like 20 actors, actresses, and 5 musicians. And he told us to go around with our white masks on our faces and express anger, express happiness and joy, express sadness, express emotion, but you couldn't use your face because you just had this white mask. Yes, of course, it was a bit scary, seeing all these ghostly faces, but we really had to use body and hands. And that was a really interesting experience because, you know, with your face, you can say so much. And maybe it's about trying those kind of exercises in front of the mirror so you don't scare any of your friends. So what can we do to solve some of these inhibitions and little hang-ups that we have about not being expressive, not, you know, showing our full character, that relaxed side of ourselves? So I've got, you know, half a dozen ideas here, dead simple, promise you. And the first one is, and I think this is really important, don't compare yourself to other people. You are you and they are them. And you can't change. You can look at them and think, I want to be like you. Or you can look at them and you can think, oh, maybe I could wave my arm around a little bit more. But don't compare. Pick up things, but don't compare. It doesn't get you anywhere, and you'll never be like them and they'll never be like you. So isn't that wonderful? So always, you know, what I say is observe yourself. Be aware of what you do. And you can do that with videos. You can do that, you know, just looking at yourself in the bathroom mirror and reciting something or talking to yourself. And, you know, the first time that I started to record video of myself speaking, I was totally obsessed with how awful I looked. You know, it was terrible. I thought, oh my God, look at this. I'm having a 12-day bad hair day and everything's wrong. And, you know, I became so critical of my appearance. Forget that. That is just not worthwhile. You know, you've got to look good and you've got to feel good to look good. And when you feel good, you look good. So don't mock vanity. Vanity is not a negativity. Looking good is really important. And if it makes you feel better, it's all win-win. So look good. And the ladies, they love to look good, don't they? We all love to look good. You know, before I come on, I make sure my hair is reasonable, a little lippy, brighten up my face. You know, we do this kind of thing. It's important. So make yourself look good, because then you will feel good. That's number 2. What have we got here? Anna says, I agree, so important. I learned in contemporary dance that you can direct where people look according to where you look or point. Yes. When you look at people, you can really grab their attention. You can hold their attention, especially with your eyes. Yeah, that's powerful, isn't it? So number 3, yeah, video yourself. Don't worry about the vanity thing because, you know, looking good is important. And here's a really good one. Honestly, have some belly laughs. Laugh. Start laughing before you have to do a video or you go live or you're going to do a public speech or your sales pitch or something. Have a good belly laugh. Have a few, you know, slapstick comedies or modern political satire or whatever it is that you like, cartoons. Have a good laugh, because laughing shakes up the body, gets all the nerves and blood flowing in the right directions, and it brings on all those happy smiles and tears to your eyes, and have a good laugh. It's free. Be silly. I think that's the thing. Make funny faces. Look at yourself in the mirror and make some funny faces and make yourself laugh. Start easing up on all this, relax those muscles, give them a bit of a nod and a shake, because that's what's, making silly faces actually helps to loosen up the facial muscles. And you feel better. You really do. Our verbal vocabulary learned for a long time. Other expressions are also quieter. Yes, practice them. Practice them in front of the mirror. Make some silly faces. Loosen up. Get to know what your face looks like. Start moving your arms around in an exaggerated way, because, you're not going to do that when you actually speak, unless you live down here in Spain or you go to Italy where it's compulsory. And, another thing I think is very important is don't take yourself so seriously. Now, I'm not talking about ridiculing or making fun of serious topics. That is not what I mean at all. But don't take yourself seriously. Take your topic seriously, but don't take yourself so seriously. Lighten up. And, by being happy and being fun and laughing more, you will enjoy life more, and that will show in your face. That will show in your body language. Are you happy? It shows. It really does. It shows in your eyes. People say it's not just the smile from the mouth, it's the smile from the eyes. People can tell if you're happy. Yeah, that's right. So make yourself happy, feel good, make some funny faces, laugh a lot before you go on video. Do some dancing, jump up and down, make yourself feel happy, because it does make a huge difference to when you go live. They do this thing about that half Buddha smile, where you you do this. The half Buddha smile, it keeps the facial muscles up. You look good. You're not got that grumpy, miserable face. It's really nice. So the half Buddha smile is a really good thing to do. Let's see what's practice video and then laugh at your own terrible video and then do it again with some laughter on board. That works for me sometimes. Yeah, that's true. You've got to laugh. As I said, the first time I did some videos of speeches I did for Toastmasters, I was horrified. And then I had to laugh at myself. I really did. Because, let's face it, if you can't laugh at yourself, go back to square one. That's what I say. You've got to have a happy attitude, and then that will come across. And if you're talking about something serious, obviously you don't want to be laughing through it. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. But, loosen up, lighten up. To relax your face, you need to move it around, and you will make silly faces. And that will help you to loosen up and lighten up, even if you're talking about something that's really serious. So what do you think? You got any more questions? How do you loosen up? How do you lighten up? How do you show your expressions? When I was writing the blog and I was thinking about that Eat Your Heart Out Tower of Babel, because there were all these builders building the tower because they wanted to get to heaven. And they were all men, of course. No surprise there. And they were all arguing with each other, and they even spoke the same language. And now we don't speak the same language, do we? So, it didn't work. What's this? Animals have ample ways to communicate. Yeah, that's right. They all manage to communicate with each other. Mind you, they make sounds too, don't they? I suppose we could go around making sounds to each other as well. Anyway, it's been really great to be with you guys today. Thank you so much for joining in with all your questions and comments. And I want to tell you that if this resonates with any of you, then I'm here for you. And at the moment, I've got one place left on my special 4-week summer special course. It's 4 sessions, 1 month, 4 weeks. I think that's all the same, isn't it? And it's all about knocking back your obstacles, fighting against the resistances that you have. And what we would do is to look at what it is that's holding you back and then make a plan to attack it and smash it and knock it away so that you can go out there and sparkle and shine and spread your message, because it's really important to be heard, understood and believed. So if that's something you like, ping me below, put a little note here or there. You know how to get in touch with me. And for all of you out there who are watching later, put in your likes and your comments. Don't just peep in. I want to know who you are. What's this? Thanks for the tips. Yay! And I think it is, don't make a big thing about it. We do make mistakes. I mean, sometimes I look at some of the videos and I go, oh my God. But, I don't take it too seriously. Life is too short to be comfortable. So, a little bit of discomfort leads to some interesting adventures, doesn't it? So are there any more questions out there before we begin a lovely evening? We've got beautiful sunshine here today. For those of you who are not in Spain, I guess you're a bit cooler up north. Anybody else want to say anything before I say ciao, ciao? Oh, look at those lovely hearts. That's great. So thank you ever so much for being on. And next week, we'll be back with another hot topic and we'll see how we can handle that one, huh? If you've got any ideas or any suggestions of things that you'd like to discuss with me or chat with me or find solutions to, pop it in the box below. And thank you so much for being on with me today. Have a fabulous evening, whatever you do. Big hugs, hot ones. Take care. Ciao, ciao for now.